So let's just get mixing. Why are we talking? Let's mix. Let's get creative. My name is Chrissy. Let's make something unique together. So what I want to share with you is we have created here at ResiArt a unique template design that you can fill with resin called Resi Infusion. So let's just get mixing. Why are we talking? Let's mix. Let's get our resin. Actually, before we get our resin, let's get our gloves that come inside the kits that we sell. These are super important because you need to cover your hands whenever you're working with resin. No, I don't need a respirator, but I do make sure that I cover my hands. We don't need a respirator with the Resi Art resin because there's no VOCs inside of it, VOCs, volatile organic compounds. So super important that you cover your hands though, because over time the resin can sink into your bloodstream and cause allergic reactions. So always wear gloves. That's why they're in the kit. All right, so next we need our resin. Our resin is a 2-to-1 mixing ratio. So we have our part A and our part B. Our part A is our 2-part and our part B is our 1-part, okay? So essentially a great way to think about this is your part B is half of whatever your part A is, or we give you a mixing ratio cup, which is so much easier. So let me show you how to mix up with a mixing ratio cup. Now, I like these a lot because I don't have to do the sums in my head because the cup does it all for me. So essentially what you will do is find your mixing ratio that your resin uses, and ours is a 2-to-1. So you look for the 2.1 column, and that is your 2-to-1 mixing ratio. We use that column there. So I know it's easy said and it probably is a little bit confusing, so let's actually do this now. So I'm starting with my part A. I am going to pour that in to my cup and I'm just going to mix up to the 1, if you can see it. So I'm pouring in my part A in my 2 column to the line of the 1. Now it is helpful to get down and kind of look, so you need to pay attention because if your mixing is off, your whole project will be off. So here, and the other thing is looking from the outside looks different from the inside. So always look into your cup, not on the outside of your cup, because it will throw the ratios off. Okay, now I'm going my part B and I'm just going to go on top to the 1 column to the 1. So as I pour this on, I am slowing down. I'm down on the, yep, perfect. So now I have my both parts in there. The next most important part is that you need to stir for 4 to 5 minutes. And I recommend not using electric mixers because you're incorporating bubbles that you don't need to incorporate. So slow and steady, stirring, and also scrape down the sides of your cup, okay? So I just kind of twist my cup and scrape the sides and make sure my mixing stirrer is actually touching the bottom because I need the resin to go all the way through. So this is the slow and tedious part, but trust me, it gets fun. So just stir it up, not too fast. Now you will notice there are some bubbles in your resin, that's okay. Our Resi Clear, which is included in our kits, has will naturally release those bubbles to the surface, and I'll show you how to pop those later once they've come to the surface. So just stirring, and did I check the time? No, that's important. Make sure you check the time so you know that you have mixed it long enough. Now I have finished mixing. You will notice there's some bubbles, but they're going to start to rise to the top, so don't worry about them. Time to grab our little cups that we got inside our kits. So you'll get 10 little cups to divide your colors. So let's pull them aside and work out what colors we'd like to do our cherry. Let's do this one for our example piece. Let's pick our colors together. So I'll show you what comes inside the cherry kit. Each kit has selected colors that come in it. These are the ones that I've chosen, and you get 6 in there. I think there's a lot you can do with it. So let me show you what's in there, and then let me show you what we're going to use to do this cherry coaster. All right, so you get the mauve, which is a dark pink, but what I like to do is use our satin blue, to make it lighter. And then we have glitters. This is our watermelon glitter, which is absolutely stunning, and what I'll use in the actual cherry part of our coaster. We have our mystic mermaid, and that's that one there. And we have our juicy pink and our orchid. So these colors come in there, and let me show you how we're going to put these together. We're just going to pick some random colors, but you can obviously do it whatever way you like, mixing whatever you'd like. You can mix glitter with the mica powders. You can do it however you like. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, like I said, we're going to do the watermelon for the actual cherry. Then we're going to do, for the bow, I reckon I'm going to do the mix of the mauve and the satin blue, so I can show you the mixing of the two colors. And then our background, I think I'm going to do, I'm undecided. I feel like I might just do it the satin blue as the background. I think that's what we're going to do. And not put any of these glitters in. Oh, we could mix the two together. Maybe put a little bit of mermaid with the satin blue. Let's try that. I like that idea. Let's see what it looks like. All right. Now, another handy tip is, obviously I told you need to make sure you're wearing your gloves. If you find that you need to touch your hair or your face or anything, because I just touched my glasses, always take your gloves off first. Do what you need to do, because resin does not go well with your hair or your clothes or anything like that. So that's why I'm wearing an apron. I have covered my space. I don't want it in my carpet, so I've actually covered the floor here. So I should have probably mentioned that a little bit earlier, but hopefully you're watching this before you start your resin project. Okay, so let's divvy them up. So I'm just going to pour my resin into my little cups. Okay, now I'm going to grab my little colors, and I'm going to grab some of my mixing sticks, and I'm going to open them up. Now, sometimes they'll open like this, which is, you got lucky, because let me see if I can find one. They might open like this as well. So if they open like this, you just have to pull off that top piece. But if it just opens straight up and that top piece is in the lid still, just don't worry about it. Just get your color. Now, I always recommend starting with less and working your way up for color. So because I'm going to mix the blue and the pink together, and I want it to be kind of like a lightish color, I'm going to use the littlest bit. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my satin blue. Now watch me not be able to get this piece out, but let's try. Here we go. So I've just popped it off, and I'm going to put it in the lid. And I might not put the lid back on. Okay, I'm going to put my gloves back on before I start mixing or putting it in, so I don't forget, if I put them on the right way. All right, oops. Now I'm not going to use the same stick because I don't want the pink pigment to go into my satin blue, but I'm just going to get a bit of my satin blue and pop it in there as well. Okay, I'm going to mix these together to see what they look like and see if I need to add any more color in there. like I said, starting with a little bit is great, but you might find that that's not dark enough, and that's okay. The thing is, you can't take it out once it's in there, so I always start with a little and just keep adding. So I'm going to add a little bit more pink to that. Okay, so again, I don't want too much. And I also leave this open, so just in case I need any more. But let's stir that. Oh, it's so pretty. What a cute color for the bow. What do we think? Tell me what you think. Do you like this color? This is why I love to mix, because you can just make some really amazing things. All right, so let's do our cherry color. I like to mix them all up first and then go in into the next stage, but obviously you can do this whatever way you like. So that's mixed up. You could pour it if you wanted to, but this is the way that I like to do it. I feel like there's no right or wrong way, so whatever works for you. This is the fun part. Stirring, not so fun, but this is the fun part. You'll also notice those bubbles that I was showing you earlier are pretty much gone. So that's great. All right, with this fine glitter, more is better. Okay, what you'll find if you don't put enough of this glitter in, you will have spots that might not have glitter, or you know, it might be a bit patchy. So still be mindful and go bit by bit, but I'll explain how to know if you've got enough glitter in there. So the best way to tell if you've got enough glitter is when you look at your paddle pop stick, you'll notice that you can see a lot of the actual stick. We don't want that. I'm going to add more and show you what the difference looks like. Again, there is such thing as too much, so work with it. But let's see. Okay, you'll notice that's a lot better when I'm looking at my stick, but I think I still want more. Seems crazy, but more glitter. Someone call me immature because I love glitter, and you know what? I just think I'm fun. If you don't like glitter, that's okay. We can still be friends. Just don't judge me for liking glitter. So there we go, that's a bit better. I'm happy with that. Let's move on to our last color that we wanted. So this was, we were going with the satin blue with a little bit of glitter. So this stick's fine. We will use this one because it was, let's put our satin blue. We don't want it too strong because we're going to add glitter in there as well. Another thing is, as I'm stirring this, if you can see, they're a little, because it's a powder, stir until all the powder is gone, so you can't see any powder anymore, because if you have any like little bits of powder, they will show up in your art piece and they don't look very great. So stir until you cannot see any powder left. Okay, all right, so we're going to add a little bit of glitter in with this one. I'm going to start with a little bit in the chunkier stuff. Oops, and I'm making glitter mess everywhere. That's why people don't like glitter, right? Because it makes a mess. That's the true thing, but it does make everything better. Like, it makes like everything sparkly and amazing. I might put a little bit more, I think. Let's add a little bit more. Okay, let's go. I'm in love with that pink. I'm just obsessed. All right, so next, now that our 3 colors are mixed up, it's time to put them into our template. So I'm gonna start with our cherry color. And yes, arts and crafts is always messy, but you know what I really should do is make sure I close these, because if I knock them over, that's not gonna be great. So let's close those up first. Do you know what? You could not put these back in if you're worried about having to take them out again. They don't actually have to be in there. Whoops. Okay. Also, it's good to note that you don't, like, it seems like a small little pot, but it goes a long way. So now, in the bigger templates, I like to pour, but you do have pipettes, which are great for your smaller areas. So if I was doing the other cherry coaster, I would be using my pipette because they're quite smaller areas to pour them in. I also like having this handy because if I put a little bit too much, I want to be able to take some out of it. Okay, so with the cherry, I just pour the resin in there. Now I start with a little bit, and what will happen is the resin will fill out all the empty space. So pour a little bit, let it do its thing, come back to it. When it stops moving, it needs a little bit more. Pop a little bit more in there. Stop. And if you're watching this, it's actually quite therapeutic to watch the resin go into those little sections. And you'll notice, okay, that might need a little bit more. Now, if I have gone heavy-handed and I've got too much in there, I can use my pipette and I can just suck a little bit out of there. You don't want to overfill your templates because it's going to make it complicated when you want to take your paper film off the top of it later on after it's cured. So let's go with our pink bow. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with this color. It's so beautiful. Okay, let's go. Again, start with a little bit and it'll work its way where it needs to go. I actually think I put a little bit too much in this one here, which is great for an example. I'm just going to squeeze my pipette before I put it in the resin and let go, and it will pull a little bit out. Beautiful. Now it's perfect. Now for our background color, our blue with the glitter inside it. Now, I'm not sure how this glitter is going to settle because it is the thicker glitter. It does try to sink to the bottom, so we might only see it on the back side, but that's okay. It's good to show you what would happen. So let's pour this. Hopefully I divvied out enough. If not, oops, mix out some more. Something to note too when you are using the chunkier glitter, if you do want to use a pipette, you can, because it's thicker, it won't go through the little top piece. You can give it a trim, obviously not too far, but it'll help the glitter go through the nozzle. nozzle. I think that's the word I want. Okay. I think we just made that amount. That was great. So, like I said, our glitter will settle as it cures. Now, if at this point you notice any surface bubbles, I don't think I really have any here, but I'm going to give it a spritz anyway. This doesn't come in your kit, but isopropyl alcohol is your friend. Instead of using a torch. A lot of people use torches or heat in order to pop bubbles. It scares me a little bit. I prefer to use isopropyl alcohol just to spritz on top. That pops all those bubbles, and now I don't have to worry about burning anything. You can actually burn your resin and things like that. So super, super important the way that I prefer to do things. As I said, everyone likes to do things differently. So there's no right or wrong way. Just be really careful if you do use heat, and don't use isopropyl alcohol and a torch or a lighter, because no, just in case. I'm sure you already knew that. All right, so our coaster is ready. It's time to let it cure overnight, and we will come back and I will show you how to finish this off. So it's been 24 hours and I'm back to you the next day, and our template that we made is fully cured. So let me show you what happens next. But before I do, let me give you a little pro tip on how you can reuse your ratio mixing cup. It's really that simple. So we flip it upside down, put some pressure, and it's not going to make it look that simple. Put some pressure, it pops out. Dispose of your, or you could use it as a little coaster if you want, but dispose of that piece and your ratio cup's good to go again, so you can use it. Do make sure you scrape out any little pieces that might be in there before you mix in it again, but otherwise you're good to go. Now let me show you how easy it is to peel off the protective film. Now, because I have, I find it easier to use tweezers. You don't have to, you can just kind of get an edge and peel, but I like tweezers, so I'm going to use tweezers to show you. You've got a film on the back and you have a film on the front. It's as simple as grabbing an edge, kind of like peeling a sticker. Okay, so that's the back side. Remember I said the glitter might sink to the bottom? It has. And the front looks like this. So you're kind of going to get a double-sided effect. Let's peel the front. This one can be a little bit more tedious to peel because it's got, show you. Okay, now that I've got my edge up, just peel it away. I'm trying to show you without covering it with my hands, but it's okay if like little pieces like this, I would grab my little tweezers and go in and kind of just use those, peel those pieces off. Everything will come off pretty easily. See, that bit was good. Let me put my tweezers down. And the perfectionist in me wants to peel it all off in one, but it doesn't have to be done that way. And voila, this is my coaster. So this is this side. And this is the other side. So like I said, the glitter settled to the bottom, but it kind of gives a really cool effect. Let me show you a few others that we've done. This is another one that I did earlier without the glitter in the backing. And then in the cherry design, it comes with two different patterns. So it comes with this little pattern and that. So that actually comes in your kit as a set. And then we have another set available in our coasters that is a daisy. And they work the same way. So filling in your blank spaces. So we have put together a kit that you can purchase from ResiArt that has everything you need to make your very own, starting with your resin. And there's actually enough resin in here to make up more templates if you'd like to, or dip your toes into maybe mold projects or something along those lines. You get the colors suited to your design. Whoops, let's see if we can get it over. The colors based on the pattern that you choose. So these do change varying on the template that you choose. And you get all the things you need to mix, measure, and pour. And those pipettes, of course. And remember that we said make sure you protect your hands with gloves. You actually get 3 sets of gloves in your kit because it's super important to make sure you wear those. So that is everything that you get inside your kit if you wanted to give this a go. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to stay in tune with all the things that are coming in ResiArt, make sure to follow us on our social media. If you didn't know, I was a little bit nervous because this is our first video, but I'm so excited to go on this journey with you. So make sure you're following for the next one. See you guys.